Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an Airbus A330 pilot, also Airbus A350 rated, and today we are going to fly the iniBuilds Airbus A350 once again. We are currently sitting on the ground in Munich and we're going to fly over to Cape Town. This is going to be a night flight for the most part of it. Only about an hour or two prior to our landing the sun is eventually going to come up. This means we can check out all the night lighting of the aircraft and have a look at its operation in the night, and we are also going to discuss some of the African procedures that we'll have to follow on a flight like this. But let's quickly start by reviewing our flight plan so that you guys know what we're going to be up to today. So this is our route of flight. We're departing Munich to the south, across Italy, Tunisia, Algeria, and then a lot of African countries until we eventually end up on a straight line down to South Africa and Cape Town. Now we do have a little ETOP segment over the Sahara Desert, and if we scroll down into the significant weather charts, we can see we've initially got good weather conditions. We're crossing one jet stream over the Sahara, which might come with a little bit of turbulence, and then as we are crossing the equator and the intertropical convergence zone, that is where a little bit of turbulence can be expected, maybe some 3 to 4 hours into the flight for a couple hours time. So down here we do have one area of moderate clear turbulence forecast, then that area number 1 over here is actually forecast with severe turbulence, so that's definitely something that we'll have to keep an eye upon. Close to Brazzaville we are then facing some occasional CBs up to flight level 430. Well, and thereafter it's going to be a smooth, straight line all the way down to our destination. So overall, a little bit of weather in the middle of our flight, but apart from that, good conditions. Now let's have a look at the airport weather. Munich offers us good conditions, no significant clouds today, light easterly wind, even though they are using runway 26 today. And then Cape Town, wonderful weather conditions, few clouds, temperatures up to 24 degrees, making for some very nice safaris in our layover. Our alternate George also features good weather conditions, so we have no reason to take any extra fuel due to the weather. However, if we take a look into the flight plan itself, we can see if we depart on time, we're going to arrive on time. However, unfortunately, today we are going to be a little bit late since the aircraft came in late, and that means we'll have to cover for that. In terms of landing weight, we've got some 20 tons to play around with, lots of margin to the takeoff weight as well, so we can increase the cost index if we want to. So going down into the fuel section then, we can see that 71.7 is our planned takeoff fuel, plus a taxi fuel of 400 kilos, so 72.1. And then if we take a look down here, flying 2,000 feet lower only uses an additional 411 kilos of fuel while saving 1 minute. And if we fly a bit faster, down here cost index 400, needs 1,000 kilos more fuel, saves 8 minutes of flight time. So with this in consideration, we can see we don't really need too much extra here. The A350 is actually not using that much fuel. It's a fairly efficient aircraft. And last but not least, we can see down here the loss for discretionary fuel is only $91 per ton, so the fuel is really cheap today. Therefore, I am just going to upload 2 tons of additional fuel, so let's round it up and just say we're gonna go with 74 tons of fuel for today's service. Well, and with that now decided, let's get into our aircraft and start setting up for our service. So, starting with the safety inspection, the engine master levers are off, engine mode selector norm, thrust levers idle, the landing gear lever is down, and the wiper selectors are both off. Then we can go up here to the electrical panel and turn on the batteries, as well as the external power. And with that, our aircraft is coming to life. While the aircraft's powering up, let's go down here and turn on the lights. That's the floodlights, which are looking like this, basically just illuminating the main panel and mostly the pedestal down here. Then we've got the dome light down here, which then also illuminates the rest of the cockpit. Now, I gotta say, the lighting is done really well in here. It just gives the aircraft exactly that kind of feel that I'd be expecting inside an A350. So really well done over here to the modelers over at iniBuilds. So our aircraft has now pretty much powered up, so let's continue and turn the batteries back off again. Then we can check the battery voltage right up here, which got to be above 25 volts for the nickel cadmium batteries we've got fitted inside our A350. And then we can turn the batteries right back on again. So, IRS 1, 2, and 3 going into nav, and then we can do our aircraft acceptance. So press the recall for 3 seconds. That should bring up the status page over here, but do notice that I am using a beta version to record this, so things might change for the final product. Same thing for the dispatch button down here, which at this moment unfortunately doesn't show us anything, but hopefully soon. In any case, we don't have anything abnormal here to consider today, so we are accepting our aircraft for service. And with that done, let's go ahead and do the fire tests. So, illuminating up here, illuminating down here, and well, the fire switches should illuminate as well, the engine master levers. But okay. Alright, so with that done, let's go ahead and start the APU so that we can get it nice and cozy for our passengers. Now, talking about passengers, let's go ahead and head right over into the OIS so that we can start setting up. So on the flight up screen we are going to import the sim brief data, then let's go over to the load sheet where we will import the sim brief data as well, and then adjust the fuel as briefed, so that's going to be 74 tons for today's flight, set the 0 fuel weight, and set the fuel down here as well. Okay, with that done, let's head over into the takeoff performance, where we can synchronize the sim brief data, but I am going to shorten the runway a little bit, so that we can take an intersection into account, and then I'm also going to synchronize the weather over here. So, air conditioning off, and then let's hit compute. And we get a max takeoff weight of 301 tons, so we are perfectly good to go at today's 250 tons. Okay, excellent. So, with that out of the way, let's go right back down here. The APU is still starting up, but should be about ready any moment now. Takes about a minute to start in the A350. And here we go, APU avail. And APU bleed coming on, airflow selector norm, cross bleed auto, cockpit temperatures are set, and the cabin temperatures are controlled by the purser. Very good. So then, with that done, let's head down into our ECAM, where we check the oxygen quantities to be fine. We need about 600 here for this flight. Rain repellent is at a normal level. Then going down to the hydraulics, they're at a good level as well. And then we can check our engine oil quantity. For that we need to turn on the FADEX up here and here. And we've got 18.8, that's absolutely fine for today's flight. Alright, let's turn that FADEC back off again. And turn it back off down here. So, flaps up, spoilers are retracted, and that agrees with the lever positions. The brake pressure indicator is checked, and that's our preliminary cockpit preparation already completed. So let's head right over into the next step, which is going to be the cockpit preparation. So starting down here, and we check the evacuation switches and captain, extinguish any of those white lights, ELT is armed, cockpit voice recorder is on, and the reset switches are all in. Then moving down into the middle, the lights are all set, fueling is finished, so all the signs are coming on. And then going up here, we can turn our fuel pumps on, like that, and well, boarding has already commenced. Otherwise I would have selected APU Econ mode in order to save a little bit of fuel as part of the green operating procedures, but well. Then we continue on the right side, where everything is checked. We have no temperature sensitive cargo, so let's turn off the temperature control for the forward cargo compartment. That saves about 0.8% of fuel. CBR test is good, reset switch is all in, excellent. Then we can move down and do our U on the main panel. Down here, let's see, QNH is 1025, that's set, and the rest is set and checked with the anti-skid switch on. Moving down then, we can set our radios, 122 800, for VHF 1, then 121-500 for VHF 2. We want to listen and transmit on VHF 1, listen to VHF 2, and then we can set the intercom, the cabin interphone, and the PA systems on. Standby nav switch is guarded. So thrust levers idle, engine master levers off, engine mode select the norm. And on the right hand side, yeah, you want to listen to some radios as well, do you? Alright, and last but not least, we'll select the transponder down here. Perfect, that leads us back up towards the FMS. Now, those screens look a little bit bright over here. I am going to dim them a little bit using the master dimmer down here. And we'll just about put them in the middle position. That should work pretty well. Alright then, ATC com page. ADSC is connected. ADSC emergency should have been off already. Message record, check all messages, nothing stored in there. Then we can go down to the surveillance page, check the transponder, mode selector is on standby. And that leads us into the FMS. So onto the init page and aircraft status, A350-900 Trent XWB engines, fuel penalty is checked, nav database is current. We can delete any of those previously stored waypoints and then return back to the init page where we can do a company flight plan request. Now that is currently uploading the flight plan. That might take a little while here since it is a rather long flight plan. Here we go, received and insert. And here we go, that's our flight plan uplinked. So Lufthansa 574, Munich to Cape Town, alternate George, flight level 350. Now, we've always got to override the temperature and the tropopause. That's the bug in the real-world aircraft. So let's have a look at the flight plan over here. First stop of climb, we can't use that. That's a bug in the Lido system. In the real world, by the way. All real-world bugs I'm talking about. So let's take the data at Lumaf. That's minus 60 degrees with a tropopause in 40,000. So let's go down here, cruise temperature, minus 60, enter, and then the tropopause should be in 40,000. And enter. And that one is unfortunately bugged in the version that I'm using to record this, but should hopefully see an update soon. Let's do the wind data request down here. And there we go. Alright then, on the IRS page, the IRSs are still aligning, that's alright. Then, departure, Munich. We are departing runway 26 left today. And our sit is going to be the Turbo 7 Sierra departure. So, sit, let's scroll down here. Turbo 7 Sierra, here it is. Temporary and insert. Then let's go ahead and find the respective chart. So, Munich, search, sit. So that's going to be an Arnav sit of 26 left, probably this chart over here. Yep, that's all going to the north. So 26 left, south. Where is that? That one maybe. Yeah, that's looking good. Then let's go to night mode over here. Make sure we pin this one. Didn't mean to press that, but this one over here. Alright, and the chart is pinned. Okay, so let's compare the route then. Go over into the plan page, select the constraints, and here we go. So, straight at to 1900 or 1.5 DME, which is probably Delta Mike 049, above 1900, maximum 210 knots, and that checks. Then we continue with a left turn, Delta Mike 050, maximum 210 knots, checks. Left turn to Ottersberg, checked. And there's a 250 knot restriction for the Turbo 7 Sierra departure, and that's also checked. Now we've got to scroll down a little bit over here. Alright, and after Ottersberg, we fly direct to Turbo, and that's it. Okay, so that's our sit checked. Then let's quickly go over the rest of the flight plan as well. Just zoom this out a little bit. Always got to be careful that the aircraft does actually uplink all those waypoints and airways correctly. Especially on the A330, it sometimes happens that airways get missed when the aircraft is uplinking very long routes. Especially on those flights towards South Africa, that does happen quite a bit. I'm not sure if the same is the case on the A350 as well, but nothing would surprise me. Let's just call it that way. So the route ends at Airbus, and that's going to be the Airbus 1 Bravo arrival for Romeo 19. So let's go down here in Cape Town. We land on Romeo 19. The approach is going to be an ILS Zulu, and we have the Airbus 1 Bravo arrival. Alright, and that basically leads into a downwind over here, so we don't need any transition. And that's it. So Tempe and insert. Alright, then let's go back to init, and next we can check the nav aids where we don't need anything today, and then we can go to the fuel and load page. So over here, right from the load sheet, we have a zero fuel weight of 157.9. So zero fuel weight, 175.9 of course. Enter. The CG is 30.5. Enter. And the block fuel is 74 tons. Enter. Passenger number 293. And then we've just got to fill out the fuel figures. So let's go back into the OFP. And then we've got an ultimate fuel of 3.9, final reserve 2.4. So alternate 3.9, final 2.4, taxi 0.4, and that's it. So it actually tells us negative fuel on board, but we haven't entered the step climbs yet, so that is expected for the time being. Now let's go on to the takeoff performance, and we can go down here, takeoff performance, and send to FMS. Accept it down here. We are going to use packs off. Engine out acceleration will be in 3,000 feet. And that is looking excellent. Then let's go on to the climb page, and auto derate is selected. We don't need to pre-select anything. Transition altitude is correct. Then onto the position monitor page, and in here we are departing EDD M26 left, entering that, and here we go. Perfect. Alright, so that is now all done. So let's move back to our flight plan page, and now we can go onto the flight plan info, fix info. And in here we can enter our engine outset, so that's going to be Munich 26 left, and that's on a 260 radial. Very good. And return, and back to the flight plan. Then we need to scroll down to below the top of climb, so somewhere over here. And then we go to step outs. So let's see what step climbs we have. Back to the top of the plan. Okay, so the first step is going to be at Barca, flight level 370. So let's enter that. So Barca, flight level 370. The next step climb is going to be at Fox Lima, flight level 390. So, Foxtrot Lima, flight level 390. And last but not least, we've got IMVEX, flight level 400. That's IMVEX, flight level 400. Enter. Okay, back to the temporary and insert. Alright, so let's go to init and fuel and load, and look at that, all of a sudden we're arriving with 7.6 tons of fuel in our tanks. Now, let's just do wind request again, just to be on the safe side here. So, climb and cruise, that's looking good. And then once more, fuel and load, still shows us to arrive with a negative extra fuel, but Let's see, 3.3 root reserve. I think that's a bit too much. I think we had something like 2,000 kilos there. Yeah, contingency 3% is 1.9. Let's enter that as well. 1.9, enter. Okay, well, those 0.2 I don't care about. That's going to solve itself in flight. Okay, so all that stuff is in. Then let's go over to the secondary flight plan. Import the active flight plan. Okay, you can bring me all the way to the top, please. And then, well, let's actually go ahead and create... well, no, I'm lazy. Let's go insert next waypoint. That's gonna be EDDM26 left / 260/25. Enter. Okay, that's PBD01, and then we go new destination. Echo Delta Delta Mike Munich. Here we go, and last but not least, let's select an immediate return. 26 left, approach ILS. And here we go, that's a wonderful immediate return. Now pre-selected. Well, and with that we have basically completed our setup. So let's be sure to go back to the standard pages here. Like that and that. And last but not least, let's go onto the ATC.com page, D-ATIS, and update all weather. Alright, so wind calm, 6,000 meters, no significant clouds, 1 degree, QNH 1025, temporarily 1,200 meters, so it's probably turning into mist right now, but that's fine. Okay, so QNH 1025, with that we can continue down here on our glass shield, 1025. If SCP is set, then we want to go up to level 70. Okay, that's looking wonderful. So the last thing that we want to do is to go down into the airport map down here. Might take a little while for that to load since Munich is a rather complex airport. But as soon as that is finished, here we go, now it's loaded. Wonderful. Okay, and that's everything done that we needed to do down here. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead with our departure briefing, please. And that's going to be for the first officer, respectively pilot monitoring, to start the briefing. Okay, so we're departing Munich, runway 26 left via the Turbo 7 Sierra departure. Initial climb flight level 70 and the MSA is 3,700. Extra fuel and time, probably going to show pretty much 0. Yeah, pretty much 0, that's fine with me. Alright, wonderful. So I have no hotspots for our taxi routing, stop margin in case of rejected takeoff. It says 0 up here, but we'll see about that. Engine outset straight at 25 miles, climbing 4,000, and in case of an immediate return, the secondary flight plan is set up for an ILS approach to runway 26 left down here. We are above the maximum landing weight, so we got to do the overweight landing procedure, time permitting, and I have no special or non-standard operations. You see threats for today's departure? No? Okay, beautiful. So that's our briefing completed. Then let's do the before start checklist down to the line. Gear pins and covers removed. Fuel quantity 73,900 kilograms. Takeoff data set. And barrel reference QNH 1025. Before start checklist complete down to the line. Alright, so far so good. Let's go ahead and call for GSX to prepare the position for pushback and departure. We don't need de-icing today. And then I tend to say let's go ahead and prepare ourselves. So the doors have already been closed. Then let's remove the external power units. So ground, remove GPU, and yeah, the parking brake is set. We can see that down here. And the shocks are removed as well. Cabin crew, all doors in flight. Okay, and that's our slides armed. Oh, that's going pretty good today. It's going too good, actually. Alright. So then, let's go ahead and prepare ourselves for pushback and departure. So, beacon is on, then unfortunately taxi camera isn't implemented at the time, so we can't use that. Let's go down to the surveillance settings and activate the default settings, which basically turns on the transponder and ensures that everything is set, and we've got to do that on both pilot sides, like that. Okay, thrust levers are idle and the parking brake is set. Before start checklist below the line, please. Doors closed, park brake set, before start checklist complete. So, what are you doing? Not want to show anything today? Doesn't look like it. Well, let's take the charts from here then. That's fine for me. So, air drone ground chart, and that's exactly the one we need. Perfect. Ground from flight deck? Yeah, go ahead. So, please confirm, ground checks completed, doors and hatches are closed, and the ground equipment is removed. That's all confirmed, and we are ready to lift you up. Please confirm parking brake set. Brake is set, you're clear to lift, and you are clear to push as well. Facing south, Whiskey 2. Alright, Southern Whiskey 2, release brakes. Brakes released. Start on the push, and stand by French, and stop please. Roger. Alright, my friends, and here we go. Pushing back on the A350. Looking down here, nice reflection of the beacon. You can see how that kind of reflects all the way out here. Maybe a tiny bit too strong, for my opinion, but yeah, those beacons are pretty bright. Overall, they're made to be seen. Okay, we're getting clear of the road, then we're clear to start engines 1 and 2 in sequence. Okay, gotta wait 10 seconds after the FADEC has power to avoid any nonsense dispatch messages. And that's 10 seconds. Engine 1 start. Pretty nice sounds, aren't they? Gotta say, I do like them. Alright, so that's a good start on engine number 1, starting engine 2. Clear 2. And the push is complete, set your brakes. Brake set. So, engine start is in progress. The numbers are actually looking quite realistic. Not 100%, but definitely within the better ranges of Flight Simulator add-ons that we do see. And here we go. That was clearly the sound of ignition taking place. EGT is rising. Could probably rise a little bit quicker. And here we are. Very good. We'll jump there on the EGT, but here we go. Engine 2 is available. Okay, ground, we have 2 good starts. You're clear to disconnect. Show me the pin, please, on the right-hand side. Have a wonderful day. Bye now. And there he is. And he's holding the pin, walking away. Wonderful. After start checklist, please. So, anti-ice. Off. After start checklist complete. Okay, flight control track. Full up. Full down. Neutral. Full left. Full right. And neutral. Rudder. Full left. Full right. And neutral. Alright, very good. So, clear left side. Clear right side. Well, let's turn on the lights. You will notice that the A350 doesn't have a runway turn-off light switch that's integrated into the nose light now, since they're basically used at the same time all the time anyway. Alright, dome light coming off. Then park and brake off, and off we go. So, taxi straight ahead, left turn. And that basically leads us down here onto Sierra, and then we taxi Bravo 13 or Bravo 14 as we see fit. So, we do need a little bit of thrust to get the aircraft moving. But normally we should limit it to a maximum of 30% N1. As you can see, that's fairly sufficient to get the plane moving. So, brake check. Pressure seen. Now from this angle the beacon actually looks pretty cool, doesn't it? And down here you can nicely see how the former runway turn-off lights are integrated right into the taxi light now. Okay, we are clear on the right side, and we're clear on the left side. So turning off to the left over here onto Sierra. Break it back down to 10 knots. And here we go. Alright, I have no changes to the takeoff briefing. So, before takeoff checklist down to the line, please. Flight controls, checked. Flight instruments, checked. Briefing, confirmed. V1, VRV2, and thrust rating. So I'll just open that over here right now. V1 149, VR 152, V2 157, flex 44. Squawk set before takeoff checklist complete down to the line. So let's take the second taxiway. That's going to be Bravo 14, and with that we have the full length of the runway, the full 4,000 meters available. What I really like is, since we have the AMF up here, we can already switch over to the departure chart on the OIS, and that way, by the time we reach the runway, things are going to be pretty easy. Okay, the approach sector is clear, nobody coming over there. Then let's go, line up. Cabin crew, prepare for departure. And before takeoff checklist, below the line, please. So, takeoff runway, that's 26 left full length. Cabin crew, advised, packs off, before takeoff checklist complete. So, are you ready to go? Alright, take off. Manflex 44, SRS, runway, auto throttle. Thrust set. Knots.
E1.
Rotate. Positive climb. Gear up. Nav. Checked. Gotta love that sound of the gear retracting. Thrust decline, climb auto thrust. Backs on. So, with those speed restrictions over here, we can't retract the flaps just yet. Ooh, nice look at the city of Munich down there. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So, 210 knots, automatic flap retraction takes place from config 1 plus F to config 1. And then flaps 0. Speed checked. Flap 0. Okay, so climb to flight level 190, and that's 19,000 blue. Set standard. Standard cross check passing flight level 48. Now, after takeoff checklist. So, bubble ref. Standard set. After takeoff checklist complete. So far so good, we're up and away. Let's go ahead and turn that autopilot on, and we can quickly do the after takeoff flow, cross-checking that everything is indeed set, which it is. Well, wonderful. Well, that's looking really beautiful, isn't it? I do apologize for those sounds cutting in and out, by the way. That is unfortunately something that I encounter ever since I have bought my new CPU with the Ryzen 7 9800X 3D. So that's something that's happening ever since I have that new CPU. Hopefully I'll be able to sort that out, otherwise I might have to go back to Intel. But we'll see about it. So let's go ahead and reset the chrono up here. We do, after all, have the automatic flight timer running down here. And if you're wondering why that shows a little bit less than what we actually had on the chrono, well, that's because the automatic flight timer is starting to count by the time that we actually get airborne. Right, so we don't need that TCAS and TA only anymore. Here we go, that's better. So, since we are going to overfly the Alps, let's switch over to terrain over here. We can nicely see them come up on the nav display over here. And weather basically wasn't an issue, so we're not going to worry about that. Okay, approaching and passing 10,000. So, landing lights going off. Well, I don't see any turbulence coming anytime soon, so let's release our guests as well. And then the EFCP is set, and well, that's it. Alright then guys, so let's have a look down here. Optimum flight level 363, maximum 374. I tell you what, we are going to maintain flight level 350 initially. Actually, we could climb to 370 already. It wouldn't really hurt. Let's just see what is going to change if we change our cost index. Because a quick look down here shows we're arriving at 0606. And if we look at the OFP, schedule is 0530, so we are like 36 minutes late at the moment. Let's see if we can make good anything here. 10.1 on arrival. That equals, yeah, 4.6 extra, that's 53 minutes. See, I told you this will change once we're up in the air. So let's go ahead and change that cost index. Let's do CI 100. Let it recalculate. So we had 4.6 extra. Huh. 4.7. I don't believe that. Cost index 100 should use additional fuel. A couple hundred kilos at least. Well, if you can fly faster without burning extra, I'm not going to say no to that, so that's that. Going back to the performance page, that has set our optimum down a little bit. Maximum is still unchanged. So what we're going to do is we'll climb to flight level 370 straight away. That's just easier. So, alt cruise flight level 370 blue. And new cruise alt flight level 370. Perfect, so that's all in. With that, we're up and in the air, so we can now go ahead and do a little bit of flight planning stuff again. So, I told you we'd talk a little bit about flying over Africa, and we can start to prepare some of that. So, normally this is where I'd go over to the en route chart. Unfortunately, for some reason, it doesn't seem to work today. That must be a simulator related thing though, because I do see that every now and then. But alright, that's fine. In that case, let's just quickly go ahead and have a look at the Navigraph website, or rather at the SimBrief website, right up here, and then go to the IFR high charts. So once we leave Algeria and head down here into the Niamey FIR, that's at waypoint Iktaf, we are going to resume a slop 1 degree to the right. We're going to maintain that slop all the way to Unlock, which is where we enter the Windhoek FIR. That slop is part of the avoidance procedures we are using in Africa. So let's first of all go ahead and enter it. That's going to be flight plan. No, not you, but you. Then offset. And we just said we are going to start it at Iktaf. Well, let's find Iktaf in that list. Here it is, starting at Iktaf and ending at Unlock. Here we go. And that's going to be an offset 1 nautical mile to the right. So 1 to the right, Tempe, insert. Now let's go ahead and have a look at the plan. So going down a little bit. Here we go. From Iktaf, we now have the slop 1 mile to the right. The reason we're doing that is because once we are south of Algeria, there is no radar control anymore. Well, there are occasional radars, but the coverage is really not good. And often you can't even make contact with ATC. They just don't reply for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So that's... if everyone flies offset to the right, that means we can't collide with any oncoming traffic. There would be at least 2 miles between the two aircraft. You could also go offset 2 miles to the right, then you'd even have 4 miles between the aircraft. Up to you. At the same point, at Iktaf, we are also entering the area where we've got to do the in-flight broadcast. That's going to be a topic for a dedicated Africa Ops video though. So for now, suffice to say, we have the offset that we are going to take care of, and what I'm also going to do, let's just go down here into the step outs again, because we can delete that Barca step climb, as we basically climb to level 370 straight away again. So let's just go ahead and... can we even delete that? That's one of those A350 things. Yeah, here we go. Alright. And then, yeah, you can go away as well. Alright. Insert temporary. Another quick check down here. So at Fox Lima, in 2,200 miles, we climbed to flight level 390. In 3,800 miles, we climbed to flight level 400. And that's it. Okay, perfect. So that is our setup now completed. The last thing that we can do is to enter our ETOPS data. And to be honest, it's a pretty short ETOPS segment, so I can't be bothered entering the entry and exit point. But let's nonetheless go ahead and insert that equal time point over there. So that's DAAT to Fox Tango Tango Juliet. So what we can do, just to go down to the charts over there real quick, DAAT, search, and just have a look at the AGC to find out the IATA code of that one. That's Tom and Gossett. Where is it? Tango Mike Romeo. So let's go down here, data, waypoints, pilot stored waypoint, new waypoint. So that's Tango Mike Romeo. Then let's find the other one. That's Fox Tango Tango Juliet. Search and quickly find that one as well. November Delta Juliet and Jamena. So, TMR, NDJ, and now let's find the coordinates. So that's going to be 1930.7. So latitude, north, 1930.7, enter. And then longitude is 01232.6. And that's of course east. 01232.6. Enter. Okay, and we can store that one. TMR NDJ. Perfect. So, flight plan, fix info. Let's find that. TMR NDJ. Enter. Oh, airport not in database. Well, that's a bug. But that's a bug that we're already familiar with from the A330. So, yeah, I suppose we could create another waypoint there. Hard stored, new waypoint. Alright, let's do that again. 1930.7. Enter, and 01232.6. Enter. Alright, store waypoint ETP1. And now let's go down here again, fix info, fix 2, ETP1. Enter. That's it. With that we have now added the ETP to our flight plan. Then let's quickly see from the ETP we have a distance of around just a couple of miles really. You can see entry is 1 minute prior to the ETP, 4 minutes, which is 4 minutes before the ETOPS exit point. So I'm basically not really worried about that one. So what I'm just gonna do in order to mark that area, I'll just make a 25-mile ring around that so that it becomes visible on our nav display a little bit better. Okay, and that's it. That's all our entries complete. With that, we are now basically going to fly across Africa for the next like 12 hours or so. We've basically completed our crossing across the Alps, so I'm going to go back to the weather radar, because that is most definitely going to become interesting throughout our flight. Let's see, can you go onto the en route charts? No, not really. Alright. Well, then I'll just give you the overview as well. Alright, cool. And that's everything we had to do. So, with that, we're on the way, and I see you all for a lovely sunset on our arrival into Cape Town. Morning everyone, I hope you enjoyed the flight thus far. We've made it all the way into South Africa and we are now just a few hundred miles away from our top of descent. So let's go ahead and prepare ourselves for our arrival into Cape Town. Now we're going to start with some of the basics down here. First of all, we are going to have a look at the weather, so let's go to the ATC.com page, D-ATIS, and update all in order to get the latest weather. And here we go. Cape Town Information Delta is current. Expect zone VMC sits and starts suspended. Arriving traffic proceed direct Charlie Tango Victor after Airbus Gaten and Aspect. Okay, so we are coming in via Airbus. That means after that we fly direct to Charlie Tango Victor, Cape Town VOR, and then from there we will eventually get radar vectors. Let's have a look at the full version of the ATIS over here. Wind 180 at 11, slot variable 24 degrees, QNH 1017. And we can pre-select that down here on the ISIS, 1017, and then up here we can pre-select it as well. Okay, perfect. So that ATIS is on board now, so let's go right into the flight plan. So after Airbus, they want us to proceed to Charlie Tango Victor. So insert next waypoint. Charlie Tango Victor, enter, and well, for the time being I'm just going to insert this, then let's go over to the plan mode in order to figure out exactly what we're going to do with our arrival now. So from Airbus to Charlie Tango Victor is basically straight in over here, so let's see what we can do with this. So I suggest we are just going to insert a PVD waypoint, maybe at 20 miles prior, somewhere over here, and link that up with the center fix for runway 19. So Airbus, insert next waypoint. That's going to be Charlie Tango Victor slash minus, let's say minus 20. Alright, and that's the PD point we've just created, and after the PD we'll fly direct to Charlie India 19. So, PD, insert next waypoint, Charlie India 19, enter, and that's gonna be the first one, and insert. What just happened to our flight plan? Did we just kill the entire flight plan with that? Oh, lovely. Okay, so we just broke the aircraft. Look at that. Looks funny, doesn't it? Okay, let's see how we can fix that. Secondary, number 1. Oh, of course I didn't update the flight plan. Alright, well, in that case, let's just re-enter the arrival. Cape Town, 19, ILS, Tempe, and insert. Now what's happening over here? It's not updating it, huh? Okay, well then we gotta try something new. New destination. Let's see if we can reset it. Cape Town, enter, insert. Why doesn't it take the new destination? Oh, this is annoying now. Okay. How are you gonna fix that? What happens if we enter a different arrival than what we had previously? Let's take runway 01 for a second. ILS 01. Temporary. Look at that, it still has everything in the temporary flight plan. Insert. And then it gets removed in the active. Okay, I have a plan though. Let's see if we can get into the temporary ILS 19. reselect the arrival, and now let's go down here and see what's in there. So let's say we want to go direct to Airbus. Oh, and it's gone. Okay. That looks better. Insert. Okay. Now at least we have an active flight plan again. Let's see if we can create anything from that. So, new destination. Fox Alpha Charlie Tango. Enter. Yes. Insert. That looks better. Now we can recreate the flight plan. So, arrival 19, ILS Zulu 19, Airbus 1 Bravo. Temporary, insert. That looks better. That looks much, much better. So, lateral discontinuity ahead. Yeah, that's fine. Now, what I'm going to do here... They still want us to fly direct to Charlie Tango Victor after Airbus, but that basically is the arrival down here. It's just without that turning away point there. So let's take CTV 30 and link that up with the final approach fix, shall we? So CTV 30, insert next waypoint, take it from the list. No, the list doesn't work, okay. Well, okay, I'll tell you what, in that case, just cancel it. Then we're not gonna mess with it. The only thing I will do in order to prepare for a little shortcut here is to set that CTV 30 point to, let's say, 9,000 feet. Just to give us a little bit better vertical guidance here. Not exactly my favorite way of doing it, but it's a workaround for that strange vanishing flight plan. So yeah, I suppose we are just gonna keep it at that. Makes our life easier. Much easier. Alright, cool. So now that we've got that in, let's go over to the performance pages. Bring up the Asus over here for a moment. So, the descent page doesn't need any input here, the speeds are okay. Approach page then. Winds 180 at 11. Temperature 24. QNH 1017. Alright. Now for the minimum. This is where things are getting a little bit hairy. Because, just like with the standard flight simulator, it looks like when I'm trying to get the Lido charts for our destination here, the EFB doesn't do anything. It sticks to the charts we had en route, but after a long flight I can't get anything up over there. So, yeah. Back to the trusty old Navigraph charts then. I suppose iniBuilds just attempts to connect to the simulator's own API there. And, well, that's not working, so I guess the A350 falls victim to a bug in the base simulator right there. So be it. So let's go ahead and import our flight over here and get back to using our trusty good old Navigraph charts. So, Airbus 1 Bravo, that's basically it. So after Airbus, we proceed inbound to Cape Town. And then from there on to the ILS approach. For an ILS Zulu runway 19er. Okay, and that's a minimum of 347 feet. Okay, perfect. So that is entered. Then let's have a quick look at the airport chart. Actually, I tell you what, let's try and see if the airport map loads so that we can use BTV. Yeah, it does. Perfect. So, landing off runway 19. Set landing runway. I've got to find our exit. It looks like we can just about make Charlie 1 over here. Or Charlie. So let's go ahead and select Charlie as BTV exit. Auto brake armed. And that's it. Okay, perfect. So we're about to reach our top of descent in 18 miles. I'd say let's quickly do the approach briefing, and then we are already right down there. Actually, we can still do the landing performance. That may be an idea. So synchronize the FMS and synchronize the weather, please. Runway is dry, config full. Landing technique, manual, brake mode. Suppose manual then. And reversers, yes. So let's compute that. Yeah, easy going. Absolutely easy going. Alright, perfect. So, with all of that out of the way, let's head over into the approach briefing, please. And that's going to be for you, my friend. Alright, thanks. So we are going to conduct an ILS Zulu approach Romeo 19 in Cape Town. After ADAS, we proceed to Cape Town VOR. Thereafter, we are going to get radar vectoring. The minimum is 347 feet. The MSA in the approach area is somewhere, I think 4,000 or so. Let's quickly check that. Yeah, 4,100. Then 9,000 in the direction of the mountains, but our arrival is in the 4,100 area. Perfect. Extra fuel and time. Let's have a quick look in it. And fuel and load. So we've got an hour 28 in the form of 7.6 tons. More than enough extra fuel. Perfect, thanks. Approach guidance will be by the flight director with manual flight. Let's also initiate our descent already. So flight director guidance for manual flight, landing config full, stop margin. What did we calculate down here? Yeah, 1,526 meters, so very easy going. Maximum reverse, auto brake for BTV, planned runway exit is Charlie, off to the right hand side. No hotspots for the taxiing, and I have nothing special or non-standard. Do you see any threats for the arrival? Well, terrain might be one. Weather certainly isn't, so I'm gonna go over to the terrain display on my side here as well. Alright, and that's the briefing complete. So then let's do the approach checklist down to the line, please. Briefing. Confirmed. Minimum Barrow 347 set. And that's the approach checklist complete down to the line. Alrighty, so let's fast forward this again for a little bit, and then I'll see you all as we are going to start the approach. Isn't this looking absolutely fantastic? Look at it from the outside as well. Beautiful terrain on the way into Cape Town here. Fantastic. Totally forgot how beautiful Cape Town actually is. We should be flying here more frequently, but we have a good ride for it now, so definitely ain't gonna complain about that. Beautiful lakes down there, beautiful landscape. And most important of all, a beautiful aircraft. So let's go ahead and continue our descent. We'll go right down to 3,000 feet from where we are going to intercept the ILS. And set QNH. QNH 1017 cross-check, passing 10,300 now. Checked. Alright, and we're reaching 10,000, so lights on, signs on. The EFIS control panel is set and LS is selected. Very good. We can see everything, there's no weather whatsoever, so I'm gonna remain on the terrain display down here for enhanced situational awareness. Well, and with that out of the way, let's go ahead and complete the approach checklist, please. Approach checklist below the line, barrel reference, QNH 1017. Approach checklist complete. Easy, isn't it? Really cool aircraft. Really, really cool aircraft. Alright, let's take a shortcut now and turn right onto a heading of 270. Thrust dial open descent heading and sequence the flight plan, please. So, direct to radial in, Fox India 19, course in 190, should be 191. And enter. Alright, insert direct to, and here we go. That's our radial indirect created. We can nicely see how the intercept points updates with the heading of the aircraft. Alright, heading. So that's pretty cool. Now let's do a quick check on the flight plan here. What our estimated time for arrival was. 0530. Okay, so we should have been on block for 24 minutes already, but we'll be there soon. It's gonna be alright. Okay. So, down to a 20-mile range over here. Doing good in terms of our altitude, tiny bit below the profile, but since we are still pretty new to the aircraft, I rather fly it conservatively than to, you know, go all in and try to fly it on the most optimal path theoretically possible. Beautiful looks outside again. Mountains over here are just breathtaking. Especially those little lakes over there. That must be a very nice place to visit. Very nice place to visit indeed. Only a few clouds. Lovely temperatures here at 24 degrees. What else can you ask for? Maybe vertical speed mode in order to make it somewhat of a continuous descent arrival. So, speed, vertical speed. So something that's new with the A350 that you've probably seen already is that over here you've got a couple of pseudo waypoints now that mark your ideal flap extension points. So you can see right over here you've got those points. So the decel point up there, and these are the points where it would like to see the flaps in an optimal case. Now rest assured, it's still up to the pilot to make the ultimate decision, but I find that rather useful information. Even though, and you've always got to take that into account, the aircraft does aim to reach final approach speed at the FAF, if I'm not completely mistaken. So it tries to decelerate rather early. A little bit of good pilot judgment surely still needs to go into it. Okay, so the MSA 4100, remember that. So we are descending below the MSA right now, but we are completely visual. So that is nothing to worry about here. A couple of hills over there, but no worries about them. We'll pass to the right-hand side. Now, what is this? That definitely looks like some sort of an airfield. Maybe some military installation. Or maybe the A-forces have arrived. Who knows? It's one of life's mysteries, sir. Alright, so let's take over manually here. So, full manual flight. Getting around 5 miles from our base turn here, activate approach phase, and confirm. Hold start. Tiny bit of turbulence here as we go across those hills. The wind is coming from right down there, so a little bit of turbulence is definitely expected over here. Very hard to lose your airspeed here. Just like what I would expect from an aircraft as efficient and aerodynamic as this one. Okay, left-hand turn heading 210, cleared ILS. So, glass slope localizer blue. 12 miles out. Good point to go flaps 1 if you ask me. Be checked. And flaps 1. So we'll maintain the 170 knots for the time being. So that looks pretty good. The vector leads us straight towards the final approach phase. So Logstar should activate now. Nonetheless, I will start to follow the glide slope already.
2,500.
Check. Here we go. Glide slope star, localizer star. So missed approach altitude is of course not listed on there. Well, quick check of the chart. Missed approach altitude 4,500. Is set. Okay, flaps 2. Gear down. Flaps 3. Speed check, flaps 3. And flaps full. Speed check, flaps full. Landing checklist. Cabin crew, advised, auto thrust, off, auto brake, ETV, runway condition, dry, landing checklist complete. Beautiful looking airplane.
$1,000.
Checked. So, the A350 has pretty direct flight controls, so small movement on the stick are paramount here in order to fly it properly. Especially in the flare. You can't use your A330 flare technique, you've really got to adapt to the A350 in order to get it right. So don't rely on your old muscle memory.
$500.
So speed is checked, correcting.
$400.
But you've got to be very careful not to overcorrect here.
$300. 100 above.
Checked.
200. Minimum.
Continue.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Touchdown. Spoilers, reverse green, BTV. Manual brakes.
Auto brake off.
Okay, and here comes Charlie. So, even with BTV active, I do like to do a little bit of manual braking in order to get to the exit a bit quicker. BTV is a little bit more conservative than I would be. Well, and with that, welcome to Cape Town. You could really see how the aircraft was rather responsive to the wind there on final. Now, I haven't flown an actual A350, but if it is anywhere similar to the A330, the plane is really thrown around by the wind quite a lot. And I could imagine that to be true for the A350 as well. Okay, so let's vacate the runway and turn over to the right hand side here. Let's also get the timer running, just in case we do take a bit longer for taxiing, then we could still shut down an engine. Okay, GSX, you get me onto gate. Oh, look at that, apparently nothing is suitable. I don't agree with that. Alpha 4 it is. No follow me needed, handling by... I don't know, let's take Menzies, then at least we know we're not gonna get a good load sheet. That's fine. So, in case you're wondering, the Cape Town scenery is by FSDG. I didn't use the default one here, I kind of prefer the FSDG one. Alright, after landing checklist. Huh, looks like it's complete already. Well, I'm not going to complain about that. So, APU is available. Look at how the aircraft actually accelerates when you are at a light gross weight, as we are right now. We're at around 190 tons, roughly. And the plane really gains momentum here with both engines in idle thrust. And we've actually got to work against that, since we've got to keep the speed down to 15 knots on the apron. And that's probably going to contribute to quite a bit of brake heating, but we'll review that once we have actually arrived at the gate area. So, down to 9 knots, then we can let it accelerate a little bit again. So, we found the correct destination here. Always reminds me of that Welcome to Luton Airport sign that someone's placed on the approach path to Gatwick. So, Alpha 6 over here, then Alpha 5, and thereafter comes Alpha 4, which is going to be ours. So, lights are coming off already. And Alpha 4, that's our gate. You can see it was already back at 17 knots. Really accelerates quickly here. But here we go, 10 knots. A little bit of oversteering technique. It is a large aircraft after all. And you're sitting quite a bit closer to the nose wheel than you do on the A330, so you've got to oversteer even more. But that was a bit too much. Still getting used to the aircraft, that's fine. So, nice and slow now. Be sure that we don't let it accelerate too much. What are you doing? No, I'm gonna stop here. I don't want to park over the road. GSX for the win. Okay. 1 and 2. Cabin crew, all doors and park. Alright. Beacon, seat belts, and fuel pumps. Parking checklist, please. External lights. Set. Park and brake is set, and transponder. Standby. Parking checklist complete. Okay, so let's review the fuel page. And looking at that, we had a rather even fuel usage during the flight. Used a total of 60.9 tons. If we compare that with the OFP real quick, let's see what we were supposed to use. 63.6. Huh, that's interesting. Even though we flew a higher cost index, we saved quite a bit of fuel. Interesting. Very interesting. So that probably points to some issues with the SimBrief profile, but we'll investigate that. Okay, so then, position monitor. Let's see, deviation from position 1 is very good. They should actually have drifted a little bit more, that's for sure. Okay, and that's that. So the next crew is going to take over from here on. What we can do in the meantime, though, is just to turn the IRSs off. You are required to realign them before a long-haul flight, but some crews don't do it. For that reason, I made it habit that I'm always switching the IRSs off when I'm leaving my aircraft. Alrighty, and that's gonna be it. Thank you very much for flying along, everyone. I hope you have enjoyed our first A350 African operations here. Let me know your feedback in the comments underneath the video. And as always, if you did like it, be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and if you really, really love what I'm doing on the channel, would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me Coffee link in the video description below. Thank you for watching, and see you all again on the next one.